So ISDA has published the US Renewable Energy Certificate Annex, or REC Annex for short, reflecting increased interest in trading products that help companies meet renewable energy and emissions reduction targets as part of their overall ESG strategy. The REC Annex allows firms to buy and sell RECs using standard product definitions and terms, which enables more efficient trading of these instruments. The REC Annex is the latest in a series of documents published by ISDA designed to support trading of emissions and certain types of environmental derivatives, including templates for US and EU emissions and temperature-related weather transactions. With me to discuss the REC Annex is Dickson Chin of Jones Day, ISDA's legal counsel for this project. Thanks so much for joining us today, Dickson.
Thanks for inviting me.
So let's start with some of the basics. What is a REC and what need does this annex attempt to address?
A REC is the tradable instrument that represents the environmental attributes of 1 megawatt hour of generation from a renewable resource such as wind or solar. A buyer of a REC has the exclusive right to claim these environmental benefits. The developer of a renewable energy project, which is the initial seller of a REC, can use the promise of future revenue streams to obtain debt and equity financing. The REC Annex is intended to fill an important need in the marketplace. Currently, there are no contract standard provisions or product definitions in selling or purchasing RECs. Moreover, there are currently REC definitions floating in the marketplace that reflect regulatory requirements that no longer apply. These existing gaps create legal risk because you have contract provisions that don't match from transaction to transaction. Moreover, these existing gaps also create inefficiency because of the unnecessary time it takes to negotiate identical concepts that are worded in different ways. A core part of ISDA's mission is to foster safe and efficient markets and to reduce legal uncertainty. A standardization is at the center of these efforts. That is what members and other market participants expect from ISDA. And that is what the REC Annex is intended to accomplish, which is to promote standardization by implementing a REC Annex that can more efficiently document REC transactions in the marketplace.
So given the current global focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, how can the REC Annex help facilitate the transition to a sustainable economy?
The REC Annex can document ESG transactions that spur the use of renewable energy and the reduction of carbon emissions. Many organizations manage their carbon emissions under 3 categories. Scope 1 emissions are those from sources that an organization owns or controls. Scope 2 emissions are emissions from purchased or self-generated energy of an organization. Scope 3 are other indirect emissions, such as supply chain or employee travel. Purchasing RECs can enable an organization to reduce their Scope 2 emissions. Selling RECs can facilitate the financing of renewable energy projects. In recent years, we have seen a tremendous growth in virtual power purchase agreements in the US, the EU, and globally. A virtual power purchase agreement, which is often referred to as a VPPA, can be structured as a combination of a financially settled fixed for floating swap on energy and a transfer of RECs. Each REC transaction, each VPPA can be sizable, often in the range of over $100 million over a term of 10 to 15 years. These VPPAs, along with other REC transactions, can increase the use of renewable energy and meaningfully reduce carbon emissions.
So, given the fast pace of innovation needed to meet the challenges of climate change, how will the REC Annex itself adapt to changes in the regulatory environment and evolving financing needs?
The REC Annex is designed to be simple and adaptable. First, it should require minimal upfront negotiations because it consolidates existing market standards in an easy-to-use format. Second, the REC Annex contains key placeholders to enable ISDA and market participants to adapt and supplement product definitions and contract terms to reflect new regulatory requirements and new market practices. Many ESG products can use the REC Annex as a starting point, as a foundation for other ESG transactions. As it currently stands, the REC Annex, counterparties can use the REC Annex to execute VPPAs under the ISDA with modifications. And as ISDA continues to work with its members to identify other ESG-related areas where standardization may be helpful, the REC Annex can potentially serve as a hub for innovation. For example, the REC Annex can be used as a basis for an ISDA VPPA template or an ISDA Annex for guarantees of origin, which are the EU equivalent of RECs. In other words, the REC Annex can potentially become the starting point for the next generation of ISDA standardized documentation for green commodities.
Thanks very much for joining us. ISDA continues to work on templates to provide for various types of environmental transactions, as well as other ESG-related matters. Please contact us for further information on specific projects and related working groups.